So I get asked a lot what it's like to date a man from El Salvador. Like, do we have a lot of cultural differences? Is he jealous? Is he more traditional? Some of the stereotypes are true, but I think a lot of them, at least for him, are not. First of all, my name's Emily. I'm from the US, born and raised. I'm fluent in Spanish. My boyfriend is from El Salvador. He's been learning English for a while, but I would say his English has just started to get good since we've been together. Dating someone from a completely different culture has taught me a lot, so here's my honest opinion, and I'm gonna break it down by category. So first off, family. I feel like family is more important to Salvadorians than it is to Americans. Not that family is not important for us, but I feel like it's just, for one thing, like Americans tend to value independence more than like the family unit, I think, unfortunately. But it's pretty common here to move out at 18 and live on your own, you know, go to college, whatever you are doing at that age, it's pretty normal to move out at that time. But I feel like Salvadorian culture is more of like, you usually stay with your parents even if you're, you know, an adult. Like, it's pretty common to just, you all live in the same house. Like, I imagine if Diego were still in El Salvador, he would probably live in his mom's house still. I think also helping your family is more of an expectation in Salvadorian culture than it is in the US. Like, it's a pretty Hispanic thing to, you know, you send money to your parents. Of course, it's different whenever like your kid has moved to the US, because money is just worth so much more here than it is there. So, you know, you send $200 from here and it goes a lot farther in El Salvador, obviously, than it would here. So that just kind of makes sense financially. But I feel like just in general, there's kind of like an expectation in Hispanic culture that once you know, grow up and get a job, you're sort of expected. I don't know if it's expected, but I feel like most men specifically want to be able to help and pay for stuff for their parents. I feel like also mothers are more valued and respected in Hispanic culture. I don't know why. I can't really put a finger on why. It's not that we don't love our moms here, because of course we do. But I feel like there is, I don't know what it is. I think maybe it's because there's more of a traditional household in El Salvador, in Hispanic cultures in general. And so a lot of the time the mom is running the house. And I think kids just have a lot of appreciation for that. Oh my God, it's so bright. One second. You know, I do love having blue eyes, but I will say like one thing about blue eyes is my eyes are so sensitive to the sun. It's not that bright out. It's actually a cloudy day and it's like hurting my eyes to look at the window. Anyways, I do think family is really important to Americans as well. I just think we have a different concept of family. Like, we tend to be pretty independent financially. Also, I think Americans tend to like their space more. Like, most kids want to move out of their parents' house. We still want to like visit our parents, obviously, but we don't want to live with them. So I think that's a huge difference. Okay, affection, romance, dating. Like, I think Hispanic men are just a lot more romantic, and I think that's just a cultural difference. Like, Americans, we're a bit more, okay, like a Hispanic man, the first time you go on a date with him, he's gonna get you flowers. Like, it's just, and honestly, it's crazy because since I've been with Diego, I couldn't even count how many times he's gotten me flowers, because it's like right now I have flowers sitting on my dresser because he got me a bouquet randomly for no reason. But I don't think that's as big of a thing in American culture. Like, we definitely, like, a man would get you flowers for sure, but I just don't think, I think Hispanic men are more into like big romantic gestures, and I don't think it's as common here in the US to do that. And Americans do tend to be more of like, let's split the bill. Let's 50-50 all the bills in the house. Versus like Diego, since we've lived together, he pays all the bills. And he's like, you know, you contribute what you want to contribute, but I want to be able to take care of that for you. And I think that's so nice because, I mean, we don't even have kids, but imagine like when you have kids and then you have a man who's wanting to split the bill with you. That's crazy. I'm sorry. But so anyways, he pays all the bills and like it was his idea. It's not like I asked him to do it. He wanted to do it. And I feel like that is more of a Hispanic thing. Like, men want to pay for you. When you go out to dinner, an American guy, it's like pretty high chance that he's gonna ask to split the bill. Not always, but it's definitely way more common. Like a Hispanic man is never going to ask you to pay. No, I don't think so. It's like a very cultural thing. Like it would be very looked down upon for a man to ask him to pay for dinner. So food, I feel like food is important for us Americans, but I think it's more important to Hispanic people. I also feel like America is kind of unique in that we don't really have a food that's just ours. Like we're such a huge country, and we have so many different ethnicities and people from other countries who have come over here. So I feel like our cuisine is really a mix of a bunch of other cultures. Like when you go out to eat, you can choose between like, you can choose pretty much any world cuisine, like Mexican, Japanese. I can't think of any other examples, but you know what I'm saying. And I feel like in El Salvador, like they have a lot of traditional foods that are specific to their country, like pupusas or sopa de frijoles, or I couldn't list anymore, like riguas. They just have a lot of stuff that's like from their country, and I feel like they are more invested in their cuisine than we are. Like I think there's nothing wrong with how the US is. Like we have a lot of options, and I like that. But I feel like Salvadorians are very proud of their, Salvadorian food, and they love it. It's like they want to, at least Diego is always wanting to eat pupusas. Like it's like he never gets tired of it. And I just don't feel like we have that same kind of connection to our food here in the US. Also, I feel like cooking is a big way of showing love in Hispanic cultures. And I think like it is too in the US as well, just not as much. And I think Americans love to eat. Like we're like a big food culture too, but in a different way. Because I feel like Americans love to eat, and we love like going out to eat. We even like cooking too, like grilling, barbecue is huge here. I just don't think we have like a very strong tie to like a specific kind of food like Hispanic countries do. Communication, we definitely have moments where it's hard to understand each other, because sometimes Diego will say something to me and he's like, oh, this, and this. And then I'm like, well, can you explain it? I don't understand that word. And then he explains it, and I still don't understand the words that he's using to explain it. And sometimes that'll happen like 3 times in a row, and I'm just thinking, like, it's like frustrating sometimes, but honestly, that doesn't happen very often. Most of the time, I can understand him. His English has honestly gotten really good, and we can pretty much have a full conversation in English. I will say, we talk the majority of the time in Spanish, and the one time that I really am wanting to speak in English is if we ever are like bickering or, having a disagreement. That's when I want to talk in English, because I don't want to be translating in my head. I just want to, But I think slowing down and having it translate is actually helpful, because it makes you pause before you speak. So I think it's actually a good thing for our relationship. Okay, there's some things that sound really rude in Spanish but don't sound rude in English. For example, if you tell someone like jokingly in English, oh, shut up. It's not rude. You could say that to your friends or somebody you're close to. But I guess in Spanish, cállate is seen a bit more, it's just kind of rude. Like you could say it as a joke, but I think it just sounds stronger than it does in English. And I didn't know that for a long time, and I was using it, over and over again, and Diego was like, why are you always telling me to shut up? Like, and then like we talked about it and figured out that shut up is not really the same in Spanish as it is in English. So I try not to say that in Spanish. Gender roles, I do feel like this is a big difference between El Salvador and the US. I think gender roles in the US, for most people, at least my age, it's pretty much like you're equal in your couple. Both are gonna work, both are gonna contribute to the bills. If you have kids, usually it would be the mom who stays home, but a lot of time the mom still works. I don't think it's in the US, we don't really have traditional households, or at least I think it's kind of going away. It's not happening as much. Maybe 30 years ago, it was mostly traditional, but I think that's just not the case anymore. And a lot of times dads are staying home. But in Hispanic culture, it's pretty much always the woman stays home, doesn't work, the man works and supports the household. she takes care of the kids if they have kids. But even if you don't have kids, it's still pretty traditional. Like the woman stays home and he works. And when I was younger, like from my perspective as an American, I used to think like, oh, that's so sexist. He gets a career and I just have to stay home and like have kids and take care of them. But I've honestly completely changed my mind on that because just for context, I used to date an American guy and we were 50-50 on everything. He made way more money than me and we were 50-50. Like date nights, going out for coffee, the bills at home too. And I didn't think anything was weird about that while I was in that relationship. And now, like Diego and I, when we first started dating, we earned almost exactly the same. And he always offers to pay for everything. And he's happy to pay for everything. It's in, with my, the American guy that I was dating, it was like if I asked for him to pay for anything more than 50%, he felt like I was trying to take advantage of him or I wanted to, you know, that I was just with him for his money. And I mean, he earned quite literally 5 times what I earned. So it's, I don't know. It's just a cultural difference. I think in El Salvador, it's men feel like they feel good about themselves whenever they can take care of their family or their girlfriend or their wife. And I do think that's just a big difference in the cultures. Jealousy and protectiveness. There is a huge stereotype that Hispanic men are really jealous and protective. I think that's true kind of in general I think that's true that Hispanic men tend to be more jealous because Americans were very chill, I think. Like it's pretty normal as an American, if you go out or you go to a party, you can talk to anybody. You know, I could go and talk to another man and that's not seen as flirting. It's just like, I'm being friendly, just having a conversation. But I do think in Hispanic culture, that's a bit looked down upon. You wouldn't just go to a party and start talking to anybody you want to. I feel like you kind of have to be respectful to your couple. And it's not like I can't talk to anybody I want to, I will. But I think I just tend to talk more to women if we go out, which that's fine with me. But I do think that is a cultural difference because Americans were just like very friendly and open and it doesn't really matter. Diego is honestly not jealous at all. He's kind of like, you know, you are free to be who you want to be, and if I ever feel like there's an issue, I'll tell you, but like we haven't had any issues like that. So protectiveness, he is more protective. Like I think he sees himself as like he needs to be protective over me. And I think it's kind of funny because as an American, I'm like hyper independent. I'm very independent. So I've never felt like I needed a man. I don't feel like I need anybody really. Obviously, whatever. But I think that he kind of goes out of his way to make sure I'm safe. And I'm trying to think of like specific examples. I feel like honestly the only times he's ever protective is if I am not with him and I go out and do something alone. He worries about me more than I think an American man would. Like I think in American culture, it's just that women are more independent and it's just pretty normal here. So it's not something that your boyfriend would really think about or think twice about. Humor. I don't really actually think there's a big difference between humor. I think in the US, we love to joke around and have fun, and I think it's the same in El Salvador. I feel like Diego's really funny, actually. He jokes around all the time. I'm trying to think if the only thing that's sometimes hard is that it's hard to translate jokes. I feel like we usually get each other's jokes though. But I would say sometimes I tell a joke in English and he doesn't get it. And then when you explain a joke, it kind of loses. It's not funny anymore. But I feel like humor's the same across cultures. Biggest culture shock, I think just in general, kind of the party and music cultural differences. Like Hispanics listen to music so loud. Like the biggest speaker, I feel like a Hispanic person, their ideal is like, let's get the biggest, loudest speaker and we're gonna put it to max volume. And I think Americans, we're more chill. It's like, we're gonna have a barbecue, there's music lightly playing in the background, we're hanging out watching a football game or something, but mostly you're there to talk to other people. Hispanics, it's like, turn the music all the way up. We're dancing, we're drinking. They're very fun. And I do think Americans tend to be more like, we're chill, like we're here to relax, you know? I think the best part of dating someone who's not from your culture is learning about their culture. Like, I have learned so much about El Salvador since we started dating. And this sounds bad, but I honestly did not know anything about El Salvador. I think it's the smallest country in Latin America, and I think it's very underrated. Like, not many people know about it. It's not, like, I didn't know anything about their food. I didn't even know about their beaches, which apparently they're pretty famous as a good surf spot. But if you're not in the surf scene, you wouldn't know that, so I didn't know that. And I think it's cool. Like, I like learning about their food, their music, trying to think what else, just about the country in general, and like hearing the funny stories that Diego tells me about when he was growing up. And I'm really excited to be able to visit one day and actually see all the places that he's told me about. And from what I've heard, it's just a beautiful country too. And now the country has changed a lot. 10 years ago, it was not in a good place. But now it's safe and it's a nice place to visit, so I'm excited to go someday. And I'm sure that, like, obviously every American is different, every Salvadorian is different. So this is just my experience with my Salvadorian and my experience with US culture and Salvadorian culture. So obviously stereotypes can't cover everybody, but I do think there's something to every stereotype. If you're Salvadorian, I'd be interested to hear your opinion. If you're dating someone from another culture, tell me what surprised you the most.